guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Dad blog. So I just put my daughter to sleep for a nap, and so if I run out of the video suddenly, it's because she's crying or she just woke up. So I'm going to try to get this through this video as quickly as I can before she wakes up. And if you have kids, you're familiar with what I'm talking about. So I've got an unboxing for you guys today. And I'm a huge wrestling fan. The golden era for me was the 80s and early 90s. And I've got a couple of things to show you guys today. So today I'm going to feature a couple of wrestling figures that you guys may like if you collect such. So I got the WWE ELITE Hart Foundation. And they're really cool figures. So one of them is already unboxed, and so I'm just going to showcase them for you guys. This is the Bret Hart Elite figure from this particular series, and it's a really awesome action figure because you get to see a younger Bret Hart. And if I take off the glasses, this is the 80s interpretation of him before he blew up and before he became, the excellence of execution. He was in a tag team with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, which I'm going to unbox later on in the video. But this is actually a really awesome figure. You can tell that this is just the younger Bret Hart before he achieved all of the individual success. And the figure is great. It has the standard points of articulation for the Elite figures. I mean, it has the ab crunch, which isn't supplied in the basic figures. It has the the higher thigh movement, and then the ball joint in the legs, so you could move the legs in a variety of ways instead of just moving it front and back, which is the biggest differences from the standard or the basic to the Elite. And those small differences make all the difference, because if you have a wrestling figure, you want to have the most articulation you can out of the figure. Especially with this guy. I had the basic Bret the Hitman Hart, and he could only move his legs front and back, and you can't really put him in a sharpshooter, if he moved the legs just front and back. It's a wider stance. But this is a really awesome figure. He comes with a couple of great accessories, as you might have already seen. He comes with the sunglasses, the blacked out shades, and I also really like this look. I think this was actually before, and this is one of the features that signify that this was before his great title reign, is that he had the blacked out sunglasses, and then later on he had the cheap like the pink glasses that was really one of his signatures as well. He also comes with a title belt, which is a great accessory for this line. And if you are thinking about starting to collect this line, the belts are just a great incentive to start collecting like the more higher end figures. So it's the World Wrestling Championship, and it's just a great looking tag team belt. And if you can't see it, I'll definitely have a better look at it from another angle, just featuring the toys, taking myself out of the frame. So this is a great incentive to collect these figures. I like to wrap these figures, and there's pegs on the back and various peg holes you could adjust where and how tight you want the belt on the figure. But normally I put it in the first slot. So I like to wrap the belt around the arm. So I think that's a cool look, especially for Bret the Hitman Hart. I think that's just a really cool look for him. So I'm going to share the other figure I have, and I actually got this from a good friend of mine. Chris, worked with him for many years. I'm actually going to share. He's actually an amateur wrestler. Actually not an amateur wrestler, but he's working in the indies right now as Survival X. So I'll share the link with you guys. He's pretty talented on many ends. He's an artist. He's a musician. He's a comic book artist. I already said that. And now he's a wrestler, so that's cool. I'll share the Survival X Instagram with you guys. He's a good guy, good dude. So he got this for me because he knew that I already had the Bret the Hitman Hart in this collection. So I'm just going to unbox this for you guys. I pre-cut the tape so it's to make it easy for me. But I'm just going to share with you guys how the box looks. So as you can tell, it's the first time in the line. So this is basically like his, like think about like a, basketball cards or baseball cards. This is his like rookie card. So this is his rookie introduction into the Elite family, which is really cool. And then you have a cool looking picture of him with the shades in the back. You have a larger graphic of him in the back as well. Jim, the Anvil Neidhart, it gives his height, which actually I thought he was a lot taller than that, but 6'2" and 280, that's nothing to mess with. Reno, Nevada, I had no idea he was from Nevada. I don't actually remember the Anvil Flattener. I'm gonna have to check it out on YouTube. And he was a great tag team champion for a long time. The Hart Foundation was just a great tag team, and this guy is really underrated. Another factoid about this guy is if you watch wrestling currently, he's the father of Natalie, or does she go by Natalia nowadays? I think she goes by Natty Hart. So she's her dad. So yeah, imagine taking Natty out on a date, and then like you just see this big dude, and like, oh crap, it's Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Got to be on your best behavior. So they also have a few others on this line. Of course, I just showed you the Bret the Hitman Hart. I've got that guy, and then I also got Samoa Joe. Would love to have all three of the other guys, but more so excited about Kevin Owens. Big time Kevin Owens fan. Watched him live in a Ring of Honor show like several years ago, and I knew he's fantastic. And just seeing him in the WWE and seeing his growth is amazing. Yeah, so I'm just gonna unbox him for you guys, and then go into the specifics of him. So again, I must remind you guys that why I talk so low is because my daughter's sleeping, and she hasn't been really sleeping well. So hopefully she has a good nap. So I just cut the tape. Pull that out. I like to smell the box. I'm weird. And I like to keep the backings. I don't know why. I should probably throw these out, but they make for great photos. And I love that there's no twist ties. I hate twist ties with a passion so much. I can't even get into like how much I hate the twist ties because I just messed up a couple of figures that way. So this is a rather easy pull outside of plastic shell. It's pretty loud too. I hope I don't wake her up. Okay, that was really loud. I hope I didn't wake her up. Okay, so wow, this is a really impressive figure. He looks awesome. Oh my goodness, he looks so awesome. Really cool. Oh man, I'm really impressed by this figure. They even got the fade now. Look at that. I've been noticing that, you know, lately before they wouldn't get the hair really well. And I noticed, like, even especially with the John Cena figures, right? They look all the same to me. But then lately I've noticed that they've been getting the fade and the blowouts, you know, like different hairstyles. But they've been really blending in the hair really well. And that's really impressive. I must say, that's really impressive. Standard articulation, right? So ab crunch, that's one of the signatures of the Elite figures. You don't get that in the basic figures. You get the high thigh joint articulation. Then you know, the basic figures have this as well, but you get the swivel in addition to the ab crunch. And you know, like, you pay the extra $10 for 2 extra points of articulation, but these extra 2 points of articulation are key in posing these figures, especially for wrestling figures. You know, you want to have options for a variety of poses. Alright, so this is a really awesome figure. You see the Anvil on the back, see the signature on the back, and you get a little Anvil logo. Really cool. On the side of the boots, you get the Anvil logo, and I love that they did the stitching on the boots. You get the red, and then you get the white laces. And I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but the laces and the paint application on those laces are beautiful. And just feeling the laces, I don't think the video does this justice, but what they did with the laces with this one, I think they did a better job with the laces on the Anvil than they did on Bret the Hitman Hart. And I think that's just because of the paint contrast, because it's more visible on the Anvil. But you know, again, I mean, it's the small things that stand out for me. The beard looks awesome, the goatee. I love the expression on his face. Love the expression on his face. They even got the hairy chest down. Really cool. Let's see what else. Yeah, so he was a thicker wrestler. You know, bulky. I like that they gave him some bulk. You know, he wasn't as. I mean, Hitman was back in the day. He was a lot more like muscular, I would say, like as far as mass goes. I mean, later in his career, he got a little more lean. Not a little more lean, but he got a lot more lean. But I mean, this is when he was like a much more muscular Bret the Hitman Hart. So just the difference. I mean, he's definitely more lean than Anvil, but that's awesome because, you know, different body types make for different styles and for wrestling, and contrasting different contrast of wrestlers. You know, you don't want all your wrestlers to look the same, and he definitely had a great look. Really cool. So I'm going to end the segment on a still shot of both these guys with all their accessories on. I'm going to put the belt on Anvil. Oh, and he looks awesome with the glasses. Look at that. Oh, he's such a badass, I swear. I'm so happy that I started collecting. I mean, I haven't started collecting wrestling figures recently, but I mean, as far as like in general, I'm just so happy that I picked up wrestling figures as a hobby, because I mean, I get to relive all of the cool matches that they had just through these action figures. You know, I don't have the wrestling ability, but I do have the wrestling figures. So, and I'm just ranting right now. All right, if I could just get this guy to stand, and if the belt will stay. There you go. All right, so didn't really think this through. So I'm gonna jump into the next segment of this video, put these guys in some dynamic poses, see what they're capable of. And here's a different view, them giving the fist bump to each other. Here's a video or a still of them with the belts on their waist, and I was actually able to get Anvil in a better pose than Bret the Hitman Hart. I'm really digging the Anvil figure. I think I'm digging both of these figures, but more so the Anvil figure. He looks really awesome. And here's the back shot of them, and why I'm focusing on the back is they have the logo, their logos. So Hitman, and he has a star. Then you got Anvil with his name, and then his logo on the back. And then there's a slight differences between the boots too. I mean, there's a black trim, and then straight up white for the boots. Another subtle difference, if you can tell, Hitman has the hearts on his trunks or his tights, and Anvil doesn't. Then you can see there's a slight difference in the boots as well. I think he had patent leather, black patent leather in the front, and Anvil had just the regular leather boots. But I am digging the laces a lot more on the Anvil than Hart's boots. Oh, and actually, Anvil didn't have any knee pads. I never noticed that. That's another distinct difference between the two. Now, I have to admit, I did have trouble posing the Bret the Hitman Hart figure. It seems like his feet and I guess his proportions make it difficult for him to really hold a pose, as opposed to Anvil, which he's pretty solid. And I had no trouble posing him at all. As far as aesthetically, you put these two side by side, or just even individually, they look great. Side by side, they look great. And actually, I do hear my daughter in the background. I think she just woke up from her nap, so I might have to cut this short. But as far as aesthetically, they look great, and it's just a great looking set for the WWE Elite line. So I'm actually going to cut this segment short. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like or subscribe or consistently. So thank you guys. Thanks for watching, and tune in.